Steve White's 89. Okay, the last big what the fuck moment from Comic-Con was Natalie Portman being Thor. The initial knee jerk reaction to late woman Thor was pretty bad. I was watching a live cast of some people when they found out the news, and they were just so butthurt. I felt bad for them. I literally sent my condolences to one of them. um, and I kind of understand because there is this feeling that gender politics, that traditional masculine role models and characters, and ideals or fantasies are really under threat, and I don't really think this is good. I really think we need to have both. We need to have female role models, characters, franchises, productions led by, run by. I think it should be. I mean, the world is 50-50, men and women, roughly 50-50, so everything should represent that. The film should be men and women, behind the camera, in front of the camera. I really do agree with diversity, equality, but I don't think just reversing everything. It's like, oh, well, men ruled everything for years, so let's just make women rule everything. Like, that's not equality, that's just flipping it over, and now the men feel like they're the ones who aren't represented. And yes, you can say, oh, that's ridiculous because they've still got everything else. Well, not for much longer. And having been so entitled for all these years, they're feeling it a lot more, I think, than. So I'm trying not to laugh at it too much because I mean I'm a gay man, so I don't feel represented half the time anyway. So I don't directly relate to a lot of these straight characters and these heterosexual norms and ideals and fantasies. Like I'm not invested in them. So like when I found out when they made Thor fat, I loved it because I'm a small built, pale brunette boy who got beat up constantly by blonde, blue eyed, tanned, bigger, sporty kids, and I hate those bastards. I I'm one of those people who loves horror movies where the jock dies. I was just watching yeah. So I'm a bit racist with white people, especially blondes. I like redheads because I relate to them as an underdog, and I have empathy for the fact that they've been subjugated and stuff. But white blonde males, no, fuck them, hate them. I don't fuck them actually. But Thor, when he got fat, I loved it. I thought it was funny. I was so happy to see this icon, this ideal, sort of taken down a few pegs, and I feel kind of bad for that. But I mean, I messaged all my friends like, "Oh my god, have you seen Endgame yet? You have to see it. Thor has his shirt off all the time. You won't believe it because he's fat." I loved it. That's a little evil, but whatever. So I wasn't really upset by the idea of Thor being gone, and now we just have a woman Thor instead. And I do understand that well, I have a basic understanding that there was a female equivalent or queen or a female Thor in the comics. So it's not necessarily that they're destroying him and creating. I think it's another character. I mean, my understanding was Natalie Portman's character did become a female Thor in the comics, so it's not like they're just making things, just pulling it out of the air. It does have a precedence in the comics and everything, but I just feel like it's just a bit too much. I mean, if they're going to replace Thor with a female Thor, like, why can't she have her own movie, and Thor can still have his movie? I mean, I just don't understand why we can't have both. Why it has to be one or the other? Because someone's always going to be left out and feeling not represented, or like they had something taken away from them, or they'd never had something. So it's just like the 007, the Black Little Mermaid. So the redheads are being blackwashed, and there's like 20 or 30 redheaded characters that have been blackwashed, and that's not fair on them, and it's really not much of a bonus for the black people for representation because they're just getting secondhand characters. They're just being repurposed for them instead of having their own ones. It's like, and I don't know if they're just trying to get a lot of attention and points and a lot of clicks by basically acting like they're just killing off Thor and replacing him with a woman just to be woke, or if it's actually part of the comics and actually if they both exist together or something. Maybe they'll be fighting side by side. Like, I don't know. Is there only one hammer? I don't know enough about Thor, but I just had to say something about this huge what the fuck moment because so many people. I just saw the reactions all over the place. I'm like, oh, it's like when Game of Thrones. I watched the first couple of years of Game of Thrones, and then when I realized it was finishing, I thought, well, I should catch up and then watch the last few episodes in real time and just join the whole world experiences. Everyone watches this, and then it went down the toilet, and everyone lost their minds. And I'm like, I loved Twin Peaks, and was so excited for the third season of that, and David Lynch trashed it, and it broke my freaking heart. And I died a little inside every week for the first like 5 or 10 episodes of that show until I kind of accepted its death and then tried to just enjoy the show, this other show, for what it was, because it wasn't Twin Peaks season 3. And when Star Trek, the rights were separated and then they stopped making Star Trek and then they made the alternative movies, I got into them because they were their own universe. When they tried to tell us Discovery was canon and the same universe when it's blatantly 25 to 50% different and just wrong in tone and theme and everything, I kind of died a little inside for every episode of that, and there's 20 or so of them. So, and no one, because we're the nerd community, we're kind of small. Game of Thrones somehow managed to tap into the normies and the wider society and fandom and viewers. And when it went bad and these people who invested all this time and money and cared for this thing got slapped in the face and butt fucked, and they didn't like that or want that, it wasn't funny, but I kind of got to sit back and go, oh, this is what it looks like from the outside. I understand what it's like to be that whiny baby complaining about this TV show and acting like it's real life and really important. But I understand, if you really care about that thing, how much that means to you. So I kind of sat back and was like, okay, I understand what they're going through. I feel their pain, but I wasn't a part of it. I wasn't victimized by it. I was shocked by it. When I saw that moment that if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, where there's two wrong moments in that final episode, the ending, when Jon Snow kills the Dragon Queen. I literally was like in my room just doing stuff, and I saw that moment, and I would just walked forward like, oh my god, and walked into my bed, and like I have this big gash on my leg. I've got my Game of Thrones season 8 scar because I was just so shocked. And then when they just decided, well, we can't think of a good way to kill the big bad. So how about we just pick the most random person who we don't think anyone will expect to actually kill him and just have a jump out of nowhere and kill him? Because we can't think of a good way to end it off, so let's just do the most unexpected one and just shock and upset everyone and get the most clicks and attention. And it really backfired because everyone hates them, and they had to pull out of Comic-Con because they knew there's no way they could have a panel and control it. So that was kind of funny too. But so it's sort of a similar thing with Thor, where I'm not invested in the character. I don't feel bad. Same with Bond. But I feel bad for the people that means something to, that's important to them. There's guys who grew up with that, whose dad showed them that, whose dad probably showed them that. They want to show their kids, they want to share that male fantasy with their son, and they can't because now it's a black woman, and it's you can still enjoy the film, but you can't relate to it in that way that they used to. That, like, even if they just made it Idris Elba and still had it a male fantasy, it's not about race. It's about a male fantasy, and you can't really create a male fantasy of a female character. Like, men won't be able to relate to it on that level that they did. Yes, it's not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. But they keep doing this because they have an ideal. A lot of people call it an agenda, but it is an ideal, and it's just a little skewed. They just need to get back to the center where they represent everyone, take care of everyone, not just overcompensating in certain areas to try and make up for past deficiencies. It's really. I just want it all to work out. I want another Thor movie, because I didn't know that it was going to be a comedy, the last one, the third one. Once I kind of accepted that it wasn't the serious film like the first two, I kind of wasn't able to enjoy it, and I would have enjoyed another one in the same vein, and I wouldn't mind seeing another one. But I wouldn't mind seeing Natalie Portman become Lady Four or Queen Four, or what the hell ever that she was called in the comics. But not at the expense of the other Thor. So can we please just, can everyone have a seat at the table, please, please? Okay, I'm just gonna leave it there. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to like, share, subscribe, and comment, because I like reading people's comments. I watch other people's videos. I love seeing what people have to say, and I always like reading their comments. So I like to have my own too. Thanks. Bye.